Hi there, and welcome to Film Review. I'm David Smith, and we are covering movies for you in lots of different ways, and a very interesting movie at that. In this case, we're talking about the latest movie from Clint Eastwood and Steven Spielberg called Hereafter. And we have filmmaker and videographer Richard Spangenberg with us from HDTV Entertainment, and along with him is spiritualist and medium Roland Comtois, who incidentally is internationally renowned for his work working in the medium world. We have got an interesting movie here, gentlemen, to talk about. Richard, maybe you can give us a little bit of a synopsis on what Hereafter is all about.
Well, Hereafter was actually produced, executive producer Steven Spielberg. It was produced and directed by Clint Eastwood. Stars Matt Damon. It tells the story of three interlocking stories of people who had sudden death experiences and how they dealt with that. Matt himself has to deal with the acceptance of his gifts, his rejection of them. He sort of considers it a curse until he finds out or learns that he can help people. And near the end, that comes out, and he has more of an acceptance of who and what he is. Ends with a tsunami scene that's just unbelievable. It's got Spielberg's touch to it in that it's quite dramatic, very detail-oriented. You actually feel yourself as if you were in a tsunami and that you die.
Well, of course, interestingly enough, we have had a tsunami relatively recently, so most of the folks who are going to this movie can relate to that, at least news story, if not necessarily the experience of that.
The surprise of it is it's actually staged as if it was that event, and when you first see it, you think it's news footage. It isn't. It's a reenactment with special effects, but it's quite dramatic and quite involving. Immediately thereafter, I'd say Clint Eastwood takes over with he, to his benefit, develops characters, and he doesn't care if it takes a little bit longer and a little bit slower than what today's internet generation wants quick. This is not a fast edit type of thing. He allows his characters to have character and to get developed.
The gist of it is that all of these characters have some sort of relationship with death or near death, as the case might be.
Absolutely.
And throughout this, we see that evolution of awareness of death as something that has some inevitability, if not necessarily now. Roland, you deal with this and assisting people as this Matt Damon character might have done as a medium in connecting, going to the other side. You've seen that movie. Do you think that Matt Damon's portrayal is something that was pretty accurate?
Matt Damon did an impressive job portraying a psychic medium. As someone who lives that life, he was able to show the vulnerabilities, the strengths, his fears, and even how he gets the messages and how he feels the energy that's being sent to him was spot on. It was really an incredible portrayal. I witnessed my own life there. You know, what he experienced, I have experienced myself. And when you look at his, the way he experienced fear, the way he experienced a restlessness about his gift, the way he was afraid to take a step into that gift, everything about it was extraordinary and right on target with how I see my own life and what I've experienced in the last many, many years of my life.
He like you, found out about this at a very young age in this film, and had, as you suggest, a great deal of difficulty in coming to grips with that. I know your grandmother had helped you along the way with that.
That's correct.
And he fought it as much as he could.
And I'm telling you, he took this role as a psychic medium and really gave it validity. You know, at the end of the movie, I felt validated that as a psychic medium that, you know, that what we're trying to do is just share with the audience that there's a possibility. And the movie Hereafter absolutely tells us that there is the possibility, that there could be more. And Matt Damon does that extraordinary.
He himself personally He's not just an actor. He honestly thinks about these things and has wondered about death himself. So this role meant a lot to him.
Well, speaking of thinking about death, let's face it, Clint Eastwood now is 80 years old. And this is something that obviously has had played a major role in his choice of material and his choice of doing this film, I would think.
Spielberg discovered this and brought it to Clint. Clint loved it and took it on. I've not read, and I don't know Clint myself, so I don't have any personal knowledge, but I've not read anything about his own feelings towards it. But obviously he was enthralled enough with the subject area to want to bring it out, want to display it. I think the capability of it, or the possibility of it, is of interest to him. I would think that just being able to develop the characters had to be good.
You know, everything about that movie was real, from the point where Matt Damon is sitting in his kitchen alone and he's contemplating the idea that he has this gift, to the point where he's sitting in France at the hotel and he has his food, you know, on the tray on the bed. I've experienced those things, and you get to those places, one, because in the film it certainly demonstrates that you don't know, you know, who's going to believe you, who's going to laugh at you. And he was very protective of himself because of those experiences, because he was cautious about where he would or who he would speak to.
Well, and he also gave me the impression that he was more than concerned about the commercialization.
Absolutely.
That his brother
Right.
was trying to utilize with his talents. Well, Roland, after all is said and done, and as the people are leaving the theater, what do you expect that they're going to be taking home with them?
You know, David, my hope is that they take away from this movie the possibility that love is eternal, the possibility that the moments in life are part of our fate and destiny, as these three people connected in England. I hope they take the possibility that there's more.
It's an exciting prospect.
It
and
is.
Certainly I think that's probably what Steven Spielberg and Clint Eastwood were thinking too.
And they did a good job.
Several thumbs up from a filmmaker and from spiritualist and medium, Roland Comtois over here. Richard Spangenberg, thank you very much for being with us. And Roland, very nicely done. And maybe it's time for you to seek out the Hereafter at a local theater. For Film Review, I'm David Smith.